Hi everybody, welcome to the very first episode of the Tax Studio Sessions for 2025. I'm Amanda McConey and today we're going to be talking about something that I think we all need after this festive season, resetting your finances. It's January, it's the whole new year, new me sort of slogan, so how can we bring that into our finances as well? I think if we're honest with each other, as fun as December was, it's also a very expensive month, so whether you've overspent, dipped into your savings, or even just lost track of your budget, don't worry, January is the perfect time to start afresh. So today we're going to cover how to review your finances honestly, how to start to create realistic goals for your budget, and a couple of tools and strategies to help you stick to these that you've got. So grab yourself a notebook and let's dive in. Before setting a new budget, you need to take a hard look at where you've been financially. Start by reviewing your spending. Go through your bank statements for the last 3 months and ask yourself, where did most of my money go? Were there any unnecessary expenses that you can cut back on? And what are the things that you spent that have really brought you joy versus the things that you spent that kind of give you a little bit of regret? For example, maybe you ordered one too many takeaways every couple of weeks, and that might be a bit of a regret. And then on the other side, you might have spent money on books that have really helped you to grow and to develop, and that might be a good thing. So just take a little time to review your spending and to just sort of see where you are. Once you've done this, you can then assess your income. Check to see if the income that you receive met your financial needs for last year. And if not, then consider whether you need to supplement it, whether that's by asking for a little bit more money at work, providing that, you've been putting in the time and the hours to, be able to get that recognition, or perhaps even just doing a little bit of a side hustle or a side gig to ensure that you get yourself a little bit of extra money on the side. Once you've done this, you can start to identify the trends, look into your patterns, whether it's on overspending, subscriptions, food deliveries. All of these trends will guide you to how your new budget should be filtered and to essentially what you should be focusing on. I personally have Monzo. I love it. I think it's so great at tracking my spending and letting me know where I spend the most money. It breaks it down into different categories, so I would definitely recommend that. If not, apps like Emma or YNAB also are great at categorizing your expenses automatically. So this can help save you a little bit of the hassle if this task does feel a little bit overwhelming, which I know that especially after spending so much, it sometimes can do. The next thing would be to set your 2025 financial goals. So now that you've reflected on 2024, it's time to think about what you really want to achieve in 2025. The best way that you can do this is by breaking them down into short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. So for example, a short-term goal might be saving money for a holiday. It's been a very hard and busy season, a season where you spent a lot of money. Maybe you just need a bit of a refresh. Save about £300, £500 for a little holiday for yourself. That could be a really good short-term goal. A medium-term goal could be something like paying off a credit card by the end of the year, maybe even by halfway through this year, whatever it is that is feasible to you. And a long-term goal could be something like building up a 6-month emergency fund. This will naturally take a lot of time to do, but at least if you have this goal, then you can get it. When you're doing this, make sure that you're realistic. I think one thing that we do, which is why a lot of New Year's resolutions in general fail, but I think especially when it comes to finances, is because we're not realistic. We turn around and we're like, I want to save £3,000 a month. And you might not even be earning £3,000 a month. £3,000 a month might be your entire salary. You have to be realistic with your budgeting. So ensure that you start small and then build it up. Honestly, I think it is so much better to start off by saying, I'm going to save £5 a month than to say, I'm going to save 1.5 a month. Do you know what I mean? Start small and build yourself up, get into that momentum, and that way you'll build confidence in yourself and confidence in the system that you're setting up with your budget. So how exactly can you build a realistic budget? I think a very common rule that we've all sort of heard of is the 50-30-20 rule, which is essentially dividing your income into 50% for essentials such as rent, groceries, utilities, 30% for discretionary spending, so that could be eating out, subscriptions, buying yourself clothes extras here and there, and then 20% for savings and debt repayment and investments. The best way to go about your savings is to automate these. So set up standing orders for your savings on payday, have it completely go out of your account the minute you get paid, and it just won't necessarily feel like you're losing too much. And while I know that the 50-30-20 rule can honestly be a little bit overwhelming, I think especially given the rise in cost of living, 50% of your income might not even cover most of your essentials, and I completely understand that. So flex it where you can, of course. If for right now where you are, you need it to be 70-20-10, maybe you need it to be 80-10-10, whatever it might be. Make sure that you're flexible with yourself, but then try to aim to get towards that 50-30-20, because that will allow you to have just a little bit more disposable income and to also save and work towards paying your debt and investing, which I know is something that we're all looking to do in order to have that extra skill and to make a little bit of extra money on the side. Another thing that I think I would recommend would be to have an account for irregular spending. Create a sinking fund for annual costs like car insurance or Christmas shopping. This will really help you so that when that time does come, I know we mentioned it in our last episode about having like a holiday fund, because when the holiday season does come around, it can honestly be so expensive and all the expenses build up without even necessarily realizing. But at least if you start to have a sinking fund, then you'll have a little bit of cushioning and a little bit of padding just to help you when it does get to be so hectic and very expensive, as enjoyable as it can be. Another thing that I would say would be to make sure that you track your spending weekly. I think so many people are so scared, and I was actually talking to someone about this, so many people are so scared to look at their finances and to look at their bank accounts and to see how much they're spending. And I get it, it can be overwhelming, but you're only avoiding the issue, you're only ever avoiding the problem. Look at your budget every single week, look at your bank accounts every single week and see where you're spending, see where you've maybe spent too much, see where there's maybe a little bit of wiggle room where you can spend a little bit extra, adjust as needed, and ensure that you are flexible and honest with yourself. But making sure that you track it and at least see what is right in front of you is the first step to being able to take control of your finances. One tip that I would have would be to use apps like Plum and Moneybox, because they really can help to automate micro savings for you. So for example, if you buy something for £9.70, these types of apps will round it up. So it will be like you spent £10 and they'll put that extra 30p in a savings account for you. The last sort of bit that I would say would be to stay motivated. I completely understand that with finances, especially as the year started, we're all very much like, yes, ready for these goals. And I think we have that sort of high element of energy, but it's about ensuring that we keep up this level of motivation that we currently have at the moment. And that can also be hard to keep, that can be hard to maintain, but by making sure that the goals that you've set for yourself are realistic, by making sure that you have a budget that is feasible and that you can stick to, it will make it so much easier when your motivation dips, like it naturally will. And so some of the ways that you could do this and some of the ways that you can help yourself stay on track is by finding out what your why is. Visualize your goals, whether it's a dream holiday, financial freedom, or even buying a house. Make sure that you then break this down and set small milestones. Celebrate when you hit £100, £500, £1,000, going all the way up until you reach your goal. This will help keep you motivated and help you to know that you really are making progress, especially in those times when it feels like you're not. Another way is to also get support. I know that a lot of people like to keep things close to their chest, and I 100% don't blame you, but even just find one person, an accountability partner who you can share your financial goals with, and then they can keep you accountable and they can also be there to help you celebrate. If you don't want it to be anyone that you know, there are so many online communities that can help you with this accountability and just help you keep motivated, where you can share your stories and know that you're not alone in this financial journey. Remember, progress is better than perfection. Every pound that you save gets you so much closer to your goals than you think. That's it. That's a wrap on our first episode of 2025. I hope that you are all feeling really good and really excited for this year and ready and inspired to tackle your finances with confidence. Just one step at a time. I think this time next year, you'll be so much further along than you could have ever thought that you were, with just a little bit of focus, a little bit of discipline, and a little bit of guidance from the tax studio sessions. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And if you like this episode, don't forget to follow us. Don't forget to leave us a little review. And make sure that you also follow us on Instagram for daily tips and updates. Here's to an amazing financial start in 2025. You've got this. Bye.